Today, I received a really cool tool for the shop. J-tec, a company out of Iowa that makes flow meter technology for engine blowby, has sent me a prototype kit so we can test engine blowby. Since the recreational marine industry is really notorious for a lot of engines with blowby, this kit's going to help me determine the health of an engine. So what is blowby and why do we even care? Well, in short terms, blowby is where our compression gases inside the cylinder manage to make it around our piston rings and piston down into the crankcase of the engine. Now, the first order of business is to make some adapters to work with the engines I'm going to be testing. J-tec has been making flow meter technology for a variety of industries for many years, and it's cool that they reached out to me, a tiny business, to get to test out the marine side of it. Now, one of the goals with sending me this kit is to see how this kit can apply to my corner of the industry. As I get ready to test the first engine, I learned that it might be easier to have some oil caps off old engines made into adapters for use with this kit. And so that's what I'm doing today, and I figured I'd take you along for the ride. Let's get started. And we are done with that. Ah, nice and smooth. All right, let's get this thing out of the chuck. And now we need to get some hose barbs that we can machine to fit our hoses. Looking good. So since this blowby meter has two hoses, we're gonna need one that's about 1/4 inch and one that's about 3/4 inches. And looks like I've got a couple scrap barbs right here. The idea is to get both of these mounted on the cap, since we're going to be registering what blowby the engine has through the oil cap. Since the cap is plastic, originally I was going to attempt to thread it in, but it turns out the top of the cap is actually very thin, so threads aren't going to work. So I'm going to turn this barb down just to a smooth pipe, and then that way I can glue it inside the cap. And of course, like any project for a boat, after putting all the effort into making this barb perfect, I soon realized that this would not fit alongside another standard size barb, so I would have to remake all this stuff from scratch down the road. Who said YouTube videos have to be perfect? You guys can sit back, relax, and enjoy me machining a random barb. Observe my new barb, which I'm actually making out of an old, larger barb, but luckily it's silicon bronze, so it's nice and thick, and I can turn it down to the size I need, which is 3/4 inch outside diameter, and I'm turning it to about 1/2 inch inside diameter. This should work perfectly for the application. Now that I've got the outside diameter set, I'm taking my boring bar to clean up the inside. Because this is cast silicon bronze, it's actually quite rough on the inside, meaning we're going to get a lot of air turbulence, and that could affect our meter readings, so we want a consistent bore. Now it's time to drill these holes out for our new brass and bronze pieces, and hopefully I can find a way to make it fit on this tiny little cap. Alright, remember what I said about our original barbs not being big enough? Well, when you don't have a pipe long enough, you just make your own. So we're going to bore this pipe out to the right dimension and then get that set up, and that should help us out in terms of getting both hoses to fit on the same piece of plastic. And Yahtzee. All done with the machining. Let's see if these two pieces will fit on my cap. And just like that, I have accidentally managed to engineer a mini bong for our test engine. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time as we take a deep dive into blowby and use this test kit for the first time.